Hey y'all, so I'm going to talk you through my process and how I go about making the papers that I like to make. So the papers that I use, the papers that I make, I should say, I use for collage. So I like to do a lot of solid colors, or I'm going to call them variegated, same color papers. And sometimes I like them to be like dirty. So I'm actually going to show you now how I go about kind of making like a dirty page, or grungy. Remember, like grunge was kind of a thing, or distressed is probably a better word than dirty paper, but that's how I think of it. Is I think of it that way. So let me show you how I go about doing that. Okay, so when I use the term dirty, what I'm really meaning is my plate is dirty from the last printing. But I love it when it's like this, and I usually try to leave the plate in this state, and I will show you how I go about doing that too, because it is a process to get, you can purposefully leave your plate dirty, right? Now, how I think through this is I've got mainly light colors on the plate, and this is completely dry. So I left this paint on this plate overnight. This one is also dry. And what this one is once I have taken the brayer and rolled fresh paint on here, I will clean the brayer off on this little one, and then I super clean it on paper that I've got off to the side here. I will run it on this paper, and then I lay the brayer, not brush. I'm so used to paint brushes, brayers. Okay, so since I've got a light layer, I am going to cover this with a darker color, so the light layers shine. You know, they're gonna lay on top and be visible. Or I would cover it with an opposing color, blue, even blue. Like this would be a fabulous color to put on here. But I'm in the mode of doing greens, so I'm going to show you what it is like with green. So I apply the paint directly to the plate, and I cover it pretty evenly. And y'all, I just realized that I do not have my apron on, which is very, very scary because I am constantly wiping my hands on my apron. So I'm going to be like super careful not to get myself dirty with paint. So you can see I go back and forth both directions, and I'm going for a somewhat even. Once it's how I like it, I am going to just run this. You can see how much paint. I'm actually lifting paint by coming back into this. I'm lifting paint and then transferring it to the other plate. So see how it's lighter here, darker here, lighter. I'm just gonna even that out a bit. I'm going to lift here. Now you can see it's pretty even. And then I'm just going to go this way to just get it all together. And don't worry about your paint drying. Look, if your paint dries up on you, no big deal. So then you'll just use it for the next run. I am going to lay a piece of Deli right onto this one, the small plate, because I want to just clean this plate off. And I'm going to let this sit for a good bit, right? So you just get your Deli paper, or whatever paper you're working with. Currently, I am just in the mode of getting Deli paper down. So what I want to show you is what I do. Here is a kind of started. These are started, right? So I want to finish these off. So I'm going to take this one and lay it down. So this is one of those papers that I'm going to let be two-tone, right? It's got a little turquoise on it. It's got the dark green. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift this right away, which is going to leave me a dirty plate, right? I just created a dirty plate, and I've got some good texture. I had overlay here, which created a dark line. So I'm happy with this. I would print some neon on top of this, which maybe I will do in a moment. So I just chuck these on the ground and let them dry. So for this one, what I am going to do is I'm going to start with a new sheet, and I am going to cover the whole thing, or, you know, let the whole sheet, really is what I mean. I'm going to let the whole sheet go down, and it will pick up some of what is here. I'll show you what I do with this. This is just going to give me, possibly, it might not pick up anything. It feels like it's not going to pick anything up. No big deal. Nah. Nah. So what I can do, let me get some neon and show you. I'll show you what I like to do with neon. Because sometimes I lose my patience. I don't like to wait. So it's like I want to be working on something while stuff is drying. Need a tiny bit more. It doesn't take much when you're doing a small little area like this. Okay, clean that off right there, and I'm going to lay this whole thing here. See how it's sticking right away, and you can feel it. And I'll just rub down, just keep, I can peek. I'm gonna let that sit a little longer, I think. No, I'm gonna pull this one. Y'all ready? I'm gonna pull this one. Pull it super careful, because sometimes, yeah, I just split the paper. And it's still gonna have a little bit of dirty. I don't know why it didn't stick right here. It's probably because the paint just dried before I could get it on. Ooh, this one's not pulling well at all. And this happens. I had such a thin layer of paint that the paper did not, so it was dry. But y'all, I love it. This is great. And I'm going to show you what I can do. Because look at all this dirty, right? Look at all this pattern and paint. And so what happens here, this is not wasted, because I will print a whole nother color on top of this and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to pull this and let you see. You're getting a good idea of what my process is like. Look at this, how gorgeous. Look at all of this that was not there before, right? So now I've filled this whole space, and I've picked up and given some texture here. Now I can take this middle bit and press it and see if I can pick up a little more of what was on there. Let's see. Look at this, little bit. This wasn't there before, so we'll try again. It's amazing. You never know what it's gonna pick up. And sometimes I forget, like, what's under this green. I don't know what's under that. I didn't know that dark was under there. So look at this. So now I've got a great distressed piece of paper for use in collage. So I'm gonna chuck that on the floor, and let's pull this one and see what we've got. All right, this is gonna be good. All right, so didn't pick up too much down here, but this top, this is beautiful. This is giving me a nice, solid green to work with. This is nice. Still transparent. So when I collage this down, the matte medium, you know, will activate and makes the paper even a little more translucent. Now I've got all of this that I can work with by adding another color on top, which I think, let's play with this blue real quick. Let's just do some blue here, and I am going to print, whoa. Oh, this color is so gorgeous. This kind of color, I always want to eat it. I don't know why. I just want to eat. I want to eat this color, which I know is not good. We're not supposed to eat paint. It just looks yummy. Probably because it's like candy. Makes me think of candy. Okay, so this is a thick layer. I can feel it. I can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush again over here. Brush, brayer, y'all. I keep saying brush. Y'all know this is a brayer. It's not a brush. It's a brayer. And I am going to lay paper down. Because this is so thin, it's going to dry a lot faster. So watch this. This will be nice. You do have to work kind of fast sometimes. All right, I hope y'all remembered what that paper looked like. If you didn't, rewind. So here we go. I'm gonna print this whole thing on here. And I'm gonna go, no, I'm gonna do the neon on that one side, but I'm gonna fill this side with the blue. And I'm gonna pull it right away to leave the plate dirty. I filled this space, but I'm leaving the plate dirty. And then I am going to, I didn't clean my brayer. Don't forget to clean your brayer. And also, y'all, don't forget to cap your paint, although I'm about to use that. So let me show you also, I'm gonna get a thicker piece of paper. This is just scrapbooking paper, thick cardstock scrapbooking paper. Sometimes the patterns show through, sometimes they don't. I usually go for the lighter side. This was paper that I bought in a really big pack at Tuesday Morning. Do y'all remember Tuesday Mornings? I'm sad those, well, it closed by us. I don't know if they still exist in other cities, but what's great about the thicker paper is you really can let this sit for some time and it will completely clean the plate. And so I'm gonna let it do that so you can see that process also. So I'm gonna pull this one. Let's pull this and see what happens. Boy, we still got some paint that is just stuck. See these spaces? Like refusing to come off. So when this but look how cool, y'all, look how cool. Look how cool. This is awesome. So this will be gorgeous filled in with like a neon green, which I'm gonna do next for both of these. Hey y'all, okay, I grabbed my apron to protect my clothing and we are going to pull this big piece of cardstock. So my plate should be, oh yeah, look, oh my goodness, hang on. This is why you wear an apron, because and this is why you cap your paint, y'all. Oh my goodness, it's like a circus around here. So let me show y'all. I love it when it picks up the cakey stuff that is off the edge, and I probably let this sit for 10 minutes. maybe a tiny bit longer. Look at this. Look, this is how you get it. You clean your plate really well. And it did not stick down here because this was mostly dry. But this just allows me to print this little strip one more time. And the paper did tear a tiny bit right here, no big deal. But look at that, it's fabulous. And so you can see a tiny bit of the pattern underneath shows through, which I'm totally cool with. Okay, so now I wanna cover, we're gonna do neon, and I'm gonna do these here, these 2 sheets, and let's see, I know I'm gonna need more than that. And it's hard for me to tell you exactly how much paint you need. You're just gonna figure that out by doing, right? And I do like to be a tiny bit conservative with what I lay down because I don't want to waste paint. Look how good, watch when it, oh, this is like the blue by itself. And when the green goes over that blue, it is so beautiful. Love it. So you kind of get a peek of what it's gonna look like when it prints. Okay, this is so gorgeous. Cleaning it there, cleaning it here, flipping. All right, so I'm gonna do half of this. No, I don't wanna do it down there. I'm gonna do it up here because I just want the solid neon to print on top of this blue. Okay, and then now I'm gonna print blue, like all the green bits, not gonna print on the blue. And I am hoping, I'm gonna let it sit for a minute. I'm pulling it up because I put it down crooked. So don't be afraid to, oh, I did it crooked again. No big deal. Here's what's happening. I'm gonna reset it again. There we are. And look at here, watch this, watch this. I'm gonna print this little strip. I'll print the whole thing. We'll see what that does. Look at that, perfect. So now I would consider this piece done. There's a tiny bit on here, so I'm just gonna randomly pull up the rest and it'll just get, look at that. You see how subtle? It's subtle, but there. So I love that, love that. Okay, let's pull this one. So it pretty much cleaned the plate and gave me all kinds of different colors here. So I've got dark, light. I am gonna leave this as is because I know that when I cut this out and glue this down, these blank spaces will benefit me because the underpainting of my collages will show through, okay? So I'm gonna call that done. And I'm gonna let this sit for another minute. And whilst I do that, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna print the neon because I can't remember, I don't know, but at this point I have no idea how many layers is under here and what they are. Like, are they dark? Are they light? So when that's the case, when you kind of can't remember, that might have been slightly too much. Let me cap this first. I will go over with transparent. You can see how transparent these neon colors are. Also, your golds and silvers are super transparent. I am going to print this on a piece of cardstock because I'm really wanting all those layers to pull up, okay? Press it really good. I like to really just squeegee down the sides, like just run my finger along the sides. So when I lay a sheet down, I try to let the paper hang over the edge like a 1/16 of an inch, just that smidgen. That way I can possibly pick up these. Now, if this kind of thing bothers you, you just pluck it, just pull it off like that. Like if I want to pull, like if you don't like this, you can clean that off by just plucking it. And then you've got your smooth edges, but I'm into that. So I'm gonna let that live there. And I'm gonna let this sit for a second while I pull here and see what happens. Wow, I'm still look at this. This is where, oh, but look at the pattern, y'all. It's like ethereal landscape. I don't know, space landscapes or something. Planetary. I like this. So this is a little too much for me. So this is too white is what I mean. So what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to show you the neon pink, because the neon pink is just fab. And we're just going to do a tiny bit. And I'm going over, oh, these tubes sometimes you just got to squeeze it right. There we are. I'm doing it on top of this just in case it decides to pull some extra up. Remember, cover. Don't be like me and chuck it off to the side without covering it. I just want to print here. So that's what I'm gonna go for on this one. So you can just kind of eyeball and judge that. I think look, this is gonna be great. Okay. I'm pulling it now. Oh, this is fabulous. Look at all this fabulous color in here. So the goal, I'm gonna see what happens when I press this onto here. Let's just see what it's going to pick up. It might pick up a little pink. It might pick up some of the residual paint. Oh, it did. Y'all, look, it picked up this stuff, which is awesome. That is so awesome. I know, like, this kind of printing might not be your jam, but look, I grabbed that little piece. Let's see what else I can grab in this area. Sometimes this is what I do. I hit stuff to see those are probably dry. I can feel those are dry. All right, look at that. Filled up this whole area. So I can cut this into a square and glue this down, and it's going to be fabulous because of how all these little transparent spaces are going to show the underpainting that I usually glue these to. So I hope this has inspired you and given you some really fantastic ideas for what you can do, how you can use a dirty plate to your advantage to give you some distressed papers. Happy creating.